So what got me to becoming an entrepreneur? How I got started. It's been a journey. It's been a long journey. Good journey though. Great journey. But everybody's journey starts differently. What started for me, the very first thing, I was 8 years old. 8 years old. My mom, at the time, she worked at a very significant snack company. And they allowed her, or I think they allowed her, I'm not sure. She came home one day with like a big bag full of, I guess, the rejects, the stuff they couldn't really sell in the stores. Like still edible, but just, I don't know, whatever, like stuff set to the side. So she came home with like maybe 40 bags, these mini bags. Now this was the mid 80s. Gen Xers know what I'm talking about. So it was like the mini bags before the mini bags really came out. Anyway, came home with like 40 of them. She was like, baby, here you go. You can't eat them all at once. Because I was a big kid when I was younger. Husky. I was husky. And she was like, you can't eat them all at once. But here you go. And I don't know if she told me maybe I should sell them. I knew, this is what I remember. A lot of my friends in the neighborhood, once they knew I had chips, or me just knowing that they like chips and I got chips, I saw demand. I got supply. So, kind of put two and two together, got a little desk out in front of the house, put a little sign up or something. I can't remember what I sold them for. But, you know, it was all profit because, you know, didn't pay for them. But the rush of having people come up to me, buying chips, hustling up their change, hustling up their parents, hustling up their friends so that everybody could enjoy in what I was providing, intoxicating. Fucking intoxicating. And I was 8 years old. So I made some decent change that day. It was sold out one day. Of course, I say to my mom, like, you know, when we gonna re-up? She was like, baby, that was a one-time thing. Like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, I'm about 12, maybe 13. My mom, love you, Mom. My mom is delivering papers for the Wall Street Journal. No, New York Times. Out in the suburbs. And so she would take me Saturday night, Sunday morning really. So I'm 13, 14 years old, helping her deliver these papers in the fucking morning to these suburbs in many places where we might get pulled over, like, what the fuck you doing out here? Anyway, we delivering papers. And we got to put the papers together before we package them and send them out. So as we're assembling the different sections of the paper together, I was always drawn to the different things that I could relate to, the different things that I understood. So a lot of it was, at that time, I'm a Gen Xer, remember, Nintendo was coming out. Like the first game consoles that Nintendo was really pushing out there. And so I would read and see some of the different strategy that some of the vice presidents of product development and marketing and these different people, C-suite people, and read in the New York Times like their strategy for how they plan on implementing this out in North America, or how they plan on attracting certain markets, certain segments of society. And it was just industry after industry of things that I could relate to. It might be sports, like I say, it might be, you know, video gaming, because the Gen Xers, baby, home video games started with us. We the ones that fully, our shit was rudimentary, but we're the ones that fully, we know about home video games. So I would read these different articles in the New York Times, a lot of them in the business section, predominantly in the business section. So that piqued my interest in business thought, business strategy. And then fast forward a few years, I'm out of college. Didn't necessarily want to stop going to college, but the real world hit me. Finances, trying to earn a living, make some money. And I came across my mom once again for the third time. This shows you how influential a good mother is. Pick wisely, man. Pick wisely. My mom, she had remarried, and her new husband, my stepfather, owned a window cleaning business. And he was restructuring it. So he was restructuring it with a friend of his out in another part of the suburbs near the city. And I got to see these two men, and particularly these two black men, run and operate a successful window cleaning company. And I learned an immense, on the real, I learned more from my stepfather in his business than I learned from my actual father. That's a whole other story. I'll tell you a whole other story though. But the bottom line is so the three major examples, the three major factors, there were a lot of different factors, a lot of other things that popped up that I also will probably go into more detail in another video. But the three major things that put me on my path to being an entrepreneur. 8 years old, selling chips in the neighborhood and seeing that reaction when you can supply demand. Oh my God. Secondly, just picking up so much free, readily available business strategy and advice and examples, reading business articles, not just out of the New York Times, because I expanded. I was reading the business sections in the Wall Street Journal, the local newspapers, wherever I could, 12, 13, 14 years old and on. And then once I actually saw someone running their business, when I actually saw someone in the actual marketplace, and I worked for them, and so, just seeing that the muscle memory that goes into running a business, because it's not something the idea and then you get up and do it. It's so much that goes into it, and then to make it continue to operate, and then to make it grow and expand and feed you and your family and other families. Come on, man. That's godlike to me. I mean, but I'm a creative person. I think creativity is godlike. You're starting with an idea, and then you give birth to it, and you create it, and you bring it to the world. And so that's the thing. That's the major reason why some people start businesses, some people become entrepreneurs, and some people don't. The raw answer is some people ain't got no fucking creativity. So they wait for other people to do something, and then they do it. That's just the raw response. But really, if I'm gonna put a little cooking on it, a little seasoning on it, it's because creativity is a gift. And it's not just God-given. You can harness it, but it's a gift of bravery. Because the first time or two, you're not going to succeed the way you want. It's going to be more difficult than you thought. But almost like baseball, a successful baseball hitter gets out 7 out of 10 times. If you bat 300, if you get 3 hits out of 10 at bats in baseball, you're one of the better hitters in baseball. If you get a hit 1 out of 3, 33% of the time, you might be winning batting titles. So my point being, business is kind of like that. Being an entrepreneur is kind of like that. But that first time, you're more than likely not going to hit a home run. First time, you're more than likely not going to get a hit. The first time, you might not fucking make contact. But the fact that you had the idea, the bravery, you got up there, you stepped up to the plate, and after that first experience or two, you know what you're working with now. And you were so far ahead of the game of everybody else in the audience that's pointing fingers, talking shit, and they never did a damn thing. Now, let you make contact. You made contact off of a 95 mile an hour fastball. Come on now. These motherfuckers in the audience can't tell you shit. Even if you did hit it foul. Now you actually got a hit, you hit a home run. That's what being an entrepreneur is like. But you got to step up to the plate. It's an evolution that makes you think you can actually get to the plate and make a hit. It's something in you that says, you know what, I think I can actually supply demand. But it's a personal journey. It helps if you see other examples. It helps if it somehow connects to you. You have to want it. You have to want it. You have to live it. You know, some people want to be an entrepreneur because they want the results that they think they can get from it. No, you want to be an entrepreneur because you think you can supply demand. So that was my evolution. That's part of my evolution. Like I said, I'll go into more details about other stuff. And I do all right. I own multiple businesses, all with much growth potential. I'm able to pay people very nicely. I'm able to call my own shots. I still got tons of worries. I'm still not all the time happy. You know, there's tons of times when you feel like, what's it all for? But when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, but in particular, we're an entrepreneur, it's all about giving birth to something. It's all about creating something, supply and demand, and bringing that positive energy to the world, to your community, to yourself. So, I holla at you.